Doing great. Yeah, how about
Awesome.
you?
Awesome, thanks. Sorry, I'm on my laptop today because I'm still visiting family for the holidays. So it's a new laptop. I just got it a little while ago. But I'm still trying to make like my headphones work with it and stuff like that. So yeah, just want to make sure I could hear at first.
It's all
Um,
good. I play on a 2015 laptop, so I think
oh,
you're doing
that's
better.
funny. Yeah, no, this laptop's pretty sweet. I had a laptop that could run Melee before, but I think the screen was laggy before. Um, so yeah, like now it actually feels like my setup at home, which is pretty cool. I can take it to tournament stuff with me.
Great.
But yeah, anyway, so yeah, let's just jump right in. So yeah, thank you for booking with me again. I'm glad to see you're still interested in coaching. I know last time we kind of talked about um, building like a basic Falco game plan and how that can kind of be implemented to your play. How have you been finding that so far?
Oh, it's been extremely helpful. Definitely
Oh, okay, that's
has
good.
totally changed how I play the Marth matchup. Yeah.
No, that's great. Um, so yeah, let's. I don't have it pulled up here just right now. Let me grab that off my phone. Sorry, but how did you want to take today again?
Yeah, so I guess I had two thoughts. One is
Hmm.
that with coaching with other people, I've tried just playing against them and having them tell me what to think about, which
Sure.
worked really well, I think, because, like if we play, you can just spot what I'm doing that's trash.
Hmm.
And then the other thing is the general game plan of pushing Marth to the ledge and then trying to win the corner pressure situation
Hmm.
has been working really well. But I find that, against better Marths, they start mixing in counter. Uh, I don't even know what else they do. It'd be interesting to deep dive further on like what Marth's options are to get out of my laser F tilt plan.
Sure. Yeah. So yeah, I mean, why don't we talk about that first, and then we'll play. I think that's probably the best way to do it. Just so you can kind of like have those options in mind while you're playing, and kind of we can talk about if you feel like something's like off. Um, but yeah, because I have here that you did want to talk about the ledge, which is perfectly fine. And then you want to talk about approach mix-ups as well. So
Yeah, that'd be great.
when you say approach mix-ups too, are you talking specifically like approaching it when you get them to the ledge, or just like in general?
Okay, so I played a game on stream a few weeks ago. One of the commentators
Okay.
said my approaches were looking predictable. And I thought, fuck, they're absolutely all I do is short hop at people.
Okay.
So wondering what
Yeah.
else there. With the short hop, I have a million things: laser, aerial, shine, wave dash back, double jump. But other than short hopping at people, I don't really know what to do.
Okay. Gotcha. So yeah, why don't you grab that video if you have it? And I have this recording, so if you can't pay attention to too much while you're doing that, that's no problem. You'll have it in the recording as well. But yeah, I'm just gonna give like a quick breakdown of Marth at the Ledge. But if you do have any questions, like please feel free.
Okay.
So yeah, I know you mentioned the main mix up, and here I'll even pull up Slippy. I don't have Uncle Punch right now, but regular melee should be perfectly fine for that. Um, so yeah, the way Marth likes to mix up getting off at the ledge here is like I said, it's like very dependent on his sword hitbox, right? Like Marth is different than other characters where he doesn't really have a ledge dash or like a super strong aerial or like in the case of like Jigglypuff and Peach, like the ability to like float out here a ton without getting back like super committally, right? Um, Marth's way he gets past the ledge without having like a broken ledge dash is his sword, which is invincible. Um, I know you've been playing forever, so you know what disjoint means. But yeah, that's basically it. Is that's the mix up. Unfortunately for him, fair isn't really like fair or nair or down air up air like really any of his aerials. None of them are necessarily safe on shield. Um, Outright, like if Falco is shielding here and I hit him just like this, like out of shield, he's just gonna shine me out of shield, right? If it's spaced, still the frame data doesn't say that it's safe on shield. But what a lot of people don't really talk about too much when they're talking about frame data and plus or minus on shield or whatever is like situational context is the way I look at it. So in other words, for this, it's spacing, right? Like maybe if Falco can get like a quick back air out of shield, he'll trade or beat Marth doing like an up tilt right after the fair, right? So if I were to do like up tilt or fair up tilt, there's that up tilt's gonna catch everything you do, like jumping at me or wave dashing in or whatever. But if I'm not like really instant with it, maybe Falco can get a back air. Or if I do like, because up tilt's one of Marth's fastest tilts. It's like a frame faster than down tilt, right? But if I were to do frame down tilt, maybe that back air does hit. But what a lot of people won't tell you about too much is like if I push him to the ledge here, right? So this fair will miss. But it covers obviously up, right? So like an instant back air at a shield from Falco might get caught by this a little easier, because he's already like jumping up, right? Even though the down tilt is later, you technically have more time to hit this back air. With on Marth, because the hitbox that he's throwing out, even if it's disjointed and fast, it's below, right? That obviously this is stuff you already know. But why I'm trying to bring this up is because when it comes to Marth getting off the ledge, it's the same concept, right? He has to land with this fair and then do something. So that's part one of how he likes to get off ledge. Part two is mixing up when he gets off ledge, right? So this, like, the fair is what's seen as like the aggressive side of it, but there is a more evasive tactic you can use, which is like a big part of it is mixing up when he gets off, right? Because it's kind of hard to tell between like refreshes like this and a get up like that when he's actually gonna do it, right?
Yeah.
Because either way, like the animation for a double jump still has to come out, so it always looks kind of similar. The benefit for Falco though in this case is that he does have laser, right? So like we were talking about before, laser F tilt or the laser F tilt mix up at the ledge is very non-committal, because it's like I'm just gonna put a hitbox out here, right? And whenever you get up, I can hit you. The spacing I'm at is probably the spacing I'd recommend for doing it, like over here, just so that he can't hit you.
Like, isn't that like just about where the fair tipper reaches?
It
Maybe
would
it's a
be,
little, not
yeah,
quite.
it'd be a little, maybe just about right here or like right here. But point being, like, just this general range, right? Of like, you don't have to be super, super precise with it, because if Marth wants to hit the furthest he has to get with the fair, he has to be off the ledge the furthest, which, like, the laser will probably just catch him for that anyway, right? What you're more concerned about when him on the ledge, and what I think we talked a little bit about last time, was, like, if he does, like, instant fair off ledge like that, like, that's going to be pretty invincible. So, like, this range with Marth, you kind of you're forced to respect, because it's, like, disjointed hitbox, right? Sometimes you can get a trade here, and then he's off stage without a jump, and that's really in your favor. But kind of like that Muti King Westball set, like the risk reward is just not there. So like Muti King actually was like kind of an asshole in that set, because it's like it just doesn't make sense for the Falco to really go there. You know, the risk reward isn't there. So yeah, like I was saying, Marth, what he has to do here is mix up, like, okay, am I double jumping and refreshing, and like they always do, right? Usually they'll do it lower at the ledge like this. It's just the double jump heights between these two characters are different. Is he doing that, or is he going to do something like this, which is what I've been doing a lot lately against non-Falco characters? Is this, right? Like I said, just kind of force you. I do fair regrab here. And you basically just like can't have this space on ledge for free, right? This is like a better version of it, so you can like really easily see it. Yeah, and then from there, Marth, once you like force them to respect the space, your goal as a Marth is to like get on, and then you can either like shield and like work your way forward. So some people will tell you like you could get on here and then dash forward, shield, and that'll kind of stop like any instant hitboxes, or you can get on like this and then jump and do that, or you can get on and roll, or like you were saying too, this is more of a gimmicky one, get on and counter, right?
Yeah.
So as from the Falco's perspective though, like I said, you do have to respect a certain amount of space, right? Like I would say this space right here, Marth has pretty like free most of the time if you're not putting pressure on it. The benefit is that you can be safe from all the way over here, right? If he tries to get close to you, like on shield, like this F tilt see where like the foot's kicking? It's kicking like almost all the way into the ledge, right? Like there's off stage. This would be the middle of his shield, right? So you can be really far with this laser F tilt, and it's just too quick where he can't shield grab it. If he tries to shield grab you for F tilting here, you just smash attack him, right? And then he's dead. Or at least
Yeah.
off stage if it's low percent. So
Yeah.
that's sorry. Go
Well,
ahead.
maybe. Yeah, just thinking about what's going wrong for me. Maybe I'm standing too far back and not lasering enough. Because the Marts, sometimes they'll ledge refresh like 10 times, and I give up
Yeah.
and stop lasering. But maybe that's my bad.
Yeah, it is. So there's that, and it's like sometimes they'll do it like I said, like the Mewtwo King thing, and then a lot of the time, I try not to like assume the worst in people, but a lot of the time it's just more like they don't understand they can get up, or they don't understand they're being pressured. So sometimes they'll just wait and like try and do the Mewtwo King thing and like sit and wait. But as long as you have the lead, like, all right, bro, get up whenever you're ready. You know, I can do this laser all day.
Yeah.
So that's a big part of it. But yeah, sorry, I'm just trying to regain my thought on this. So yeah, oh sorry, I got it now. No, you're totally fine. It was it was on me. So what I was gonna say was all this like mix up thing we're talking about like putting on pressure here, putting on with laser, and like Marth having to get off with either the fair or mixing up when he's gonna get up and try and play evasive and get on stage back that way. You have to understand this whole thing what we're talking about. I like to think of it as like level one of putting on pressure at the ledge.
Mhm.
So like this is what you should be presenting from the default, right? Like let's say you like nair Marth middle of the stage, whatever. Your goal from this nair afterwards, right? You land a nair here. He's off stage on the ledge. You don't want to just like YOLO down air into the ledge like a lot of Falcos will do. Like if you watch Ginger or KGH or Mango or whoever, a lot of them will go to here, right? The like obviously that one's a little overshot, but like here, right?
Mhm.
And then they'll start going like this. Mango might dash dance here and make you scared of like, because it's pretty hard for Marth to deal with this approaching laser like this if you're like close to him. That's obviously a little bit, that's like its own thing, and we could talk about that too. But point being, like Marth, once he's on the ledge here, he can't get on for free. If you do find that Marths are getting on for free, that means either one, you're not presenting the right type of laser mix-up, or to how they're choosing to get up. So like laser F tilt, for example, that to me is like the safest pressure you can put on, right? Like laser, obviously, there's like no risk for doing the laser no matter what. But the F tilt here, it's like you're not going to get a ton off F tilt. It's pretty safe. It's not very non-committal, but also like not big reward, right? And Marth can still get around that. Like Marth would just beat that by, like I said, mixing up his timing to get past the laser, wave dashing on, and then he could CC, he could shield, but that's really about it, right? As long as the F tilt's coming out at the right timing. And then it's like, okay, now he's here, you're here. It kind of almost is like that neutral situation I have in that screenshot I was telling you, right? You should play neutral from there, except it's very disadvantaged neutral. So anyway, that's like, I like to say like layer one of putting on pressure at the ledge. And keep in mind, this is still like neutral. It's disadvantage neutral. Like you clearly had the advantage in this spot, but there's no like one right way to play it. But I like to say layer one because it's like this is the safest, easiest, and like most guaranteed way pretty much to get like damage or put on pressure. But if they don't respect that and they start like doing this response all the time, right, where it's like shielding or like ledge dash shield, or sometimes they'll even do like they'll like hard call you out on it, and they might do like ledge dash into you and then shield. Then it's like if you F tilt there and like assuming they get past the laser at the right timing and you're kind of like autopiloting, then you're really in trouble because then it's like they might shield grab you for that F tilt, right? So why I like to say layer one is because you can't just do the laser F tilt, but it's the safest way to go about it. But like I said, Marth's options off ledge are either like wait, which is like it could be annoying if you're like really impatient, but it's wait, get on and try and play evasive, or get on with an attack, right? So a lot of Marths, what they do as a default, if get on like ledge dash past you isn't working, right? Because if you're calling him out for being aggressive, you could do like laser shine. You could do laser down air, laser back air. I mess up the back air there, but laser back air like that. Um, you have options. Laser nair.
Yeah, I
Um,
guess an aerial beats shield.
sorry.
I guess any of those aerials, you just start pressuring his
Yeah,
shield.
exactly. You just go into shield pressure mode. Um, this is like a response though, but a lot of the time, like it's pretty reliable to say like, okay, the Marth is like ledge dashing really deep into the stage. Like you can kind of like abandon that F tilt if it's like if it's not like if you're not like really far back. You can almost just instantly go into like because like laser into an aerial is like a lot of pressure for Marth to deal with, right? Like a lot of Falcos, what they'll do because they find like laser aerial is like kind of like an awkward input, like just from one spot. Some people will do like laser shine into aerial, which I find to be a lot easier. And even that, if they like run into it, it's like pretty scary for them to deal with, right?
Yeah, and I guess I can just spam that. Unlike, the big thing I've been using has been grab because it just straight up beats shield, but I guess
Yeah,
you can't just spam grab at the ledge.
you can't. Yeah, you definitely can't spam it. It's an option for sure. Probably not one I would recommend a ton, just because like you don't really want to go into a grab war against Marth. But it's like, don't get me wrong. If you notice that they're just shielding over and over, and like you're not confident in your ability to put on pressure, or like you're not sure how they like to respond to it, grab's just the way to go, right? It just like straight up beats shield. It's just you might not get a big hit off of it like you might with an aerial. Like it's pretty scary for Marth to get hit by like down air or back air in the corner because both of them can just lead to a kill straight up.
Yeah.
Same with shine as well. So yeah. Anyway, that what I'd be called like level 2 is like bringing back your aerial pressure that you would normally have here. Instead of like safe pressure with tilts, now you would have from here you do this into like a down air or yeah. Like I said, I sometimes find that like this is just a me thing really, but I think a lot of people can relate to it. Laser into like aerial without drift, like just this is kind of awkward. So what I like to do is laser into shine, and then for whatever reason, for me the shine just like it kind of kills your momentum a little. Just kind of keeps you a little easier in space, and then from there like it's a lot easier for me to do like a drift back nair than it would be from like this kind of thing. But that's just like a small tip. Like obviously you if as a Falco main you want to be able to do both, but that's kind of my little trick if I'm like in a high pressure situation or I feel like I need to hit this or I'm gonna lose. I might do that. The last thing about putting pressure on Marth that a lot of Foxes and Falcos will do a lot is they'll sit on the platform like here. Specifically not here because fair and up tilt can probably reach here if Marth drifts in. So it's like you kind of just eliminate that risk. But they'll stand here and they'll do a drop down back air, right? It's nice for its back air because obviously it auto cancels, right? But also like just like thinking about it on paper, like it just kind of reaches the furthest. It's the furthest reaching thing you got from this position, right? Like down air covers the range directly below you, back air reaches behind you, right? But similar to the F tilt kind of thing, this back air is really great because it's also very non-committal, right? It auto cancels upon landing. Maybe not this one. This one you actually have to L cancel, but it's a very fast move. Very fast move, and if you space it right, and they shield grab it, and they bite and think like, oh, he's just spamming my shield, whatever, I'm gonna grab him. Back air you can drift back with, and even sometimes just you don't even really have to. Sometimes you can just do a spaced back air on shield, and if they grab it, it'll miss, and then you can F smash. Or if you wanted to, if you're at like 30 or something, you don't really want to F smash him, you could do like back air, bait the shield grab, turn around, down air, shine, or whatever, right? Go into pressure from there. That to me is like system 3, and again, mostly really covers them being aggressive coming onto stage. But that's mostly what you're concerned about, right? You don't want to let them get back onto the stage for free and have like some room to dash dance. If they are going to get on stage, you'd want them to only get here because where most characters, like when they like to throw out a move, like if they do like, let's say Falco does like nair in place, right? Or like down air in place. For Falco, like the way he kind of beats or makes you scared of down air in place is like he could do like down air jab, down air down tilt, down air shine, down air F tilt like this, right? Marth's moves are a little slower, and even still, even up close, like they're like the weak hits are just closer to him. He wants to be space. That's kind of how he plays as a character. So for Marth to put on safe pressure like that, he would have to do, like, let's say it's fair into dashback, right? But he can't really do that in the corner, right? Because, like, where's he gonna go? Just back off stage, and then he's basically back to where he started from this whole laser nonsense, right? So it's okay, really, I would say, if Marth gets up off the ledge like this. Obviously, you want to pressure him and make it difficult and get as many, like, big hits in where you can. But it's okay if you're here and Marth gets up, because it's like your pressure alone, he can't stay here because he's just going to get bombarded by pressure. You're more worried about him getting on stage and getting to, like, here, right? Because then it's like, okay, am I going to commit? And you're basically presented with two options from this position. You're like, okay, if he's here, am I going to commit to pressuring him and, trying to win that mix-up and get back onto stage? Or am I going to say, okay, you did it, back off, and now we're back to playing neutral, right?
Yeah, so I guess summing up the ledge situation, when he's on the ledge, plan one is just to laser him in F-tilt, which kind of beats him just trying to hop back on stage and not really doing anything else.
Yep.
To respond to that, he can either shield when he's on stage, drift really far forward. I guess the laser would catch him, though.
Yep.
Counter, or... Well, I guess those are the main things. And to beat that, you just go from laser into pressure so I don't get shield grabbed.
Yeah, pretty much. Like, that's a pretty simplified way of it, but yeah, like, that's basically it. Like, the only other thing I would add for, like, the coming in aggressive thing, if he wants to beat the F-tilt, is that fair that we talked about where, like, he can beat it. Like, that's only if he mixes up his timing at the ledge, right? So that's why I wanted to bring that up, of, like, a lot of them will just kind of hang out here and double jump refresh, because it's hard to say, like, okay, is he gonna come down? Because obviously, one, they don't want to double jump high and get hit by the laser anyway, because then they're just gonna die for it. You can, like, basically just confirm F smash off that a lot of the time. But yeah, so they'll stay low, mix up here, and then it's like, okay, eventually they'll, like, lull you into a sense of security, and then it's like, are they gonna ledge dash on? Are they gonna fair on? But those are their really only two options. And ledge dash, like I said, it's either ledge dash on straight down like this, or ledge dash on in like that kind of thing. Ledge dash on would look more like this. I just can't really do it as well as Falco, but that's the idea.
So when does the laser pressure approach not work?
What do you mean?
Level 2, he's trying to get on the stage and then shield or counter or crouch cancel. And my response is to laser and then jump in with pressure. But what can he do?
So, yeah, like, if you're trying to call out counter is, like, a weird move. Counter is, like, the all or nothing, I like to think of it in this matchup off the ledge, because it's like, one, the counter can go wrong in so many ways. Like, if he does, like, a late counter and Marth jumps late, but maybe he gets by the laser with invincibility from a fresh jump, and he counters, but he might hit, like, the back half of the laser and counter the wrong way. So, or, like, even if he does get the right laser on the counter, like, if you're just, like, shooting a bunch of lasers and he counters, you should be at the spacing where you won't get hit by it. He swings, and then you can kind of just hit him on reaction. But yeah, I would say the only time you really want to go from, like, here lasering in the corner to, like, a downer like that is if you're really unsure. It's kind of like a lazy thing to do, in my opinion. Like, you're really unsure if he's gonna ledge dash straight on. Like, let's say you're confident you've conditioned him now. I would say this is when you do it. If you're confident you've conditioned him to not aerial off ledge anymore, he keeps losing that, and now he's starting to, like, ledge dash into shield or try and get past you. Then from here, the laser into, like, instant downer becomes a little better, because it's like, okay, the instant downer would cover any space between here and there, right? It's a constant hitbox. I'm sorry I don't have Uncle Punch with me right now, but you already know, like, downer is active the whole time it's out. So when you're moving with it, like, this whole range basically is just covered by downer. But why it's risky is, and it's like, if you get a good timing on your fast fall and they miss their execution, then yeah, you can just go into pressure and then it would work. But the problem is, like, a good Marth might try and ledge dash down, instant shield, hope that you do that down air, and then because you're doing, like, a high down air on shield, you'd be getting shield grabbed in the corner, right? Which is like that's just gonna kill you.
Yeah.
So that's kind of why you don't want to do it a lot. It can work, and it's like it is definitely like an execution test on their end. But my perspective in playing melee is like the more execution tests you throw at them, the more like bad players you'll probably beat because they just can't execute. But better players will kind of be ready and like able to hit that kind of thing. And then if that's all you got, you're gonna crumble pretty hard from there, right? So yeah, I think like doing like these lasers and like sometimes you can even do like going from like we talked about like layer 1 and layer 2 if you're like because it's not an order you have to do it in like at every game I'm going to present layer 1 and then if he responds to it appropriately then I have to go to layer 2 like you can even instead of layer you can kind of think of it as like option 1 and 2 and 3 so
That'll
you
depend
could
on the previous Falco to hit him with layer 1. I'll go right to layer 2.
sorry.
Well, the Falco he played before was probably using layer 1. I could skip to 2.
Maybe like I would even think of it as like because like a thing with just like playing against people versus playing against matchups is like you do on no matter what happens like unless you've played this player before or like have studied them like you're never gonna know exactly what people are gonna do on stock 1 right your stock 1 of every set is always kind of just like taking in info seeing how they play and kind of like adjusting from there so the way I like to do it is not so much thinking of it as like layer 1 layer 2 layer 3 I like to say that because like that kind of like helps build the concept in my head layer better but when I'm actually playing it's more like option 1 option 2 option 3 so like I said like layer 1 or option 1 it's the safest and it's the most reliable but that doesn't mean if you go from option 1 and they give you a different response that might be more suited for option 3 you can't just go from the same situation from option 1 to jump up here and then do 3 right does that make sense so you could do like laser F tilt they don't okay that didn't work maybe laser and do like aerials okay option 2 or you could just do laser F tilt okay that didn't work up here let's see what he does oh this is a good time for 3 and now you can go back down right but what's so great about the spot is like it's flexible right like you have the choice of being super safe committing to an aerial here going up on a platform seeing how he does because maybe this Marth just ignores the whole like what's good for Marth quote unquote to begin with and maybe he just does double jump or like jump from ledge right and then it's like okay well I positioned myself in 3 sweet I can just back air or I can just like YOLO down air like that and that might hit him right and of course this is all like just Marth on the ledge so I know we're breaking down this one position a lot but that's basically how you should be playing it, I would say. Obviously, you can deviate from those, of course, and make some more mix-ups. So, like, maybe you want to be, like, super aggressive and come over here and then jump down and then come back in. That's an option. But it's not going to work against everyone, right? But that's just what the game is. It's options.
Yeah.
But, yeah, that's kind of how I would think about, like, playing it, like, actually putting them all together kind of thing.
Yeah, that's awesome.
So, yeah. Yeah.
So, just kind of summing that up too, like the way you're choosing these options is by watching what he does and basically trying to beat both what he's doing in the moment, like what you can see and react to, and also what you expect him to do based on what he's been doing.
Yeah, it's a combination of the two. A lot of people, I don't know if you read In Your Game of Tennis. It's kind of like a notorious book in the melee sphere. I mean, if you haven't, I would recommend it. But to sum it up basically for you, that entire book is about different ways to kind of like break through to people that whenever a situation is happening, instead of going off what you feel is happening, good players or like top athletes, what they'll do is they'll look at what actually is happening and like analyze it while they're happening and respond accordingly. Or in other words, like they're not so much thinking about what's gonna happen or like how they're gonna respond. They're like actually like looking at the screen. That's why you'll hear a lot of people say like, "Oh, he's just looking at the screen, responding." But that's what the game is, right? So it's like I said for stock 1, like you're never gonna know 1,000% what the Marth or what kind of Marth this guy is, right? But as long as you can put on, that's why I like to say layer 1, safe pressure. It's pretty reliable. It'll keep you in a good spot, and it's the F tilt really great for probing information as well. Then you can kind of respond and act accordingly, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, that's kind of how I would say to go about it.
Cool.
Definitely a good book if you're ever like bored and want something non-melee to do. You can. It's an audiobook too, but
You said it was tennis.
yeah, The Inner Game of Tennis. It's on Spotify. You can also just listen to it as an audiobook on Spotify, but most people buy the book on Amazon, or I'm sure you can even find it for free as like a PDF online if you want to do that too.
Sweet.
But yeah, it's a cool way to kind of like. It's also great for like not getting yourself flustered, right? If you're like, oh my god, this Jigglypuff is just back airing in my face, and then you can be like, wait, and like ground yourself, center yourself, and like, no, okay, they're back airing this way, they're up tilting after, like, and then you can kind of break it down from there. It's a good for like, it's really good for like, the competition, I guess, more than anything. Less so for VOD analysis, but yeah. Okay, cool. So we talked about the ledge. You said you also want to play some games, and what was the other thing? Was talk about approach mix-ups.
Approach, yeah, one of the things I struggle with is knowing what's safe against Marth, because good Marths just have such great frame data. Like, they do a nair, and I think I can jump on them, but then they have to dash back. Like,
Yeah.
what is safe to hit them? Is it just laser shine?
No, like everything is safe. Like it's kind of like Marth is a great example of a character to kind of like break this down, um, break this concept down. So, like I said, like a lot of people when they talk frame data, and I really, like I said, I'm really sorry I don't have Uncle Punch for this, but I'm on a laptop and it's brand new. Like it literally has Melee, Spotify, and OBS, and that's it. But yeah, when people talk about frame data, um, frame data is often contextual. Like you are not a perfect robot, nor am I. So if we're talking about foxes and falcos hitting each other's shields, was where most people talk about it. Frame data obviously matters. It's good to know the numbers, but it's important to know how to apply it. So you'll find a lot of Melee players don't even know frame data, myself included. Like I know quite a bit, but I don't know every character's moves. But what I do know is like, so we'll say Marth's fair, and I actually don't know the exact number. I would think it's +2 if it's tippered, or maybe +1. But point being, it is safe on shield, but it's not like I'm going to be able to hit you with anything after. It's +1 or 2, so I can't link a move into your shield directly after swinging it, right? Same thing with Nair. I don't know the exact number, but I know that it is plus if it's tippered, but I can't directly like go in and grab you after for free, or I can't go in and throw out an up tilt right after for free. You have space to do something after that fair. So fair is really great, not only because it is like I can't be punished for doing fair, like no matter what, I can always like throw out a fair and maybe shield, but it's contextual, right? So what that means is because I don't have anything directly I can just link that into, what you have to think about next is spacing. So we kind of touched about this a little bit on the earlier lesson, but like with the back air thing, right? Like you could throw out a high back air, you could throw out a low back air, and Marth does have responses to that, right? Like I could up tilt, and maybe that catches you in the startup of your back air, but that's kind of like after the +2 quote unquote has ended, so I have an extra 2 frames to start it up. But maybe let's say like I do a weak fair, and I go right into shield, right? Well, technically now, nothing that I do is going to be safe because I've committed to shielding, right? So it's all contextual based off spacing, like how long it takes you to connect a move to me, not just in terms of like the number of time that you have to actually get out a move before I'm able to do anything, but also the distance between us, right? So when we talk about like how do I approach safely, or Marth keeps hitting me with these moves and I can't hit them for him, it usually just means they're abusing one option that you are repeating, that you're not presenting anything different with. So if you have like a specific VOD of like this happening over and over, definitely talk about that. But just talking in terms of vagueness, like, okay, these are safe moves to approach with. Like, Nair with Fox, for example, is a safe move to approach with, right? I can always do a late Nair, and then, like, if I hit someone's shield, like, if I do late Nair, I'll for sure be able to pull out a shine after, right? Because the frame data just tells me I can. But if I'm Marth playing against a fox that keeps throwing out late nairs against me, right? Like trying to catch me dash back, let's say, or like just trying to catch me like crouching or something. Um, like if I know he's gonna throw out a late nair, I can just do an early F smash and hit him before he gets to the late nair, right? Or maybe I do a pivot grab and catch him landing with the nair.
Yeah.
But on paper, the late nair was safe, right? So similar thing with Falco, and that's why I think Falco, like, while he is like a fun character that's like difficult and but like easy enough to play for most people at the beginning, he is very complicated in the sense that like, yeah, laser is actually like a good move, almost always. Probably his most broken move, and it's safe, and it's like he really doesn't have like any lag after throwing it out. Like I can obviously like just jump every time I throw out a laser, but contextually sometimes maybe laser isn't like always the right option, right? Maybe I need to do like laser, dash it for a second, see how they respond. Okay, now I know how they're gonna respond. Laser, they do that response, and I punish them for it, right? Um, that's kind of how that works, and that's how I would like to think of like safe moves with Falco. And it's tough because it's like he does have a lot of those same moves as Fox, where it's like, okay, late nair into shine, and like that's good. But like the other characters can respond and beat that. So it's like how you use the late nair in the context of like what they're doing and how you're responding to it, then it becomes safe or unsafe. And that's kind of why that book I was telling you about just a second ago too is also really great for that, because it's like it keeps you from being like, I keep doing these late nairs and he's beating me every time. Like I don't know what to do about it. It's a safe mood. Like what the heck? And I'm not saying that's your like literal response, but a lot of people do get flustered when these options kind of start losing, and it's like, okay, take a breath. Okay, I'm doing late nair. He's responding by this. Okay, I know he's doing this. What do I do to beat it? And you kind of think, okay, okay, I have an answer. And then like if he's pivot grabbing, I'm gonna do an overshoot downer, and that's safe for that, right? So yeah, like I said, safe is always in melee, like or traditional fighting games. It works. Traditional fighting games, safe is a better move because you usually mean safe on hit, right? And that game doesn't. Those types of games don't really have as much like complicated movement to kind of like beat that as a layer. But safe often is like a trap word, I would say, for melee players a lot of the time, because it's like there is safe on shield, or like safe. Let's say you throw out a move and they clank, and who has the safer one against that, like the one that's better. But contextually in melee, like with movement and crouch cancel, like nothing is safe, right? Like you can beat everything, and that's kind of why it's exciting. But also it can be like really frustrating for players who don't really like grasp onto that the most, or like abuse it. I would say it's probably the better word for it.
guess
But yeah,
I guess it's dashback that's often beating me, and that's why the whole game plan is push him into the corner so he loses that option.
yeah, exactly. Um, so yeah, like dashback for Marth for sure is like the thing he's gonna do, because like I said, right, he can't like throw out a move and then like he can't like throw out an aerial and then put up a jab right after. He might be able to with like the context of like, okay, I have a spaced up tilt against his instant back air at shield. It's disjointed, it'll trade, sure. But like he can't spam that, because then like he's just gonna lose to everything else, right? So what Marth has instead of that, where other characters have it, right? Like Falco has down air into jab, he has it into shine, into shield, into up tilt, F tilt. Like he has it, or even like down smash. Like he has a ton. So he has like aerial into frontwards facing attack is the way I like to think of it. Marth doesn't really have aerial into frontward facing attack. He has aerial into dashback or shield. So what that means is like you'll often feel pressured by Marth because he's moving and taking away like ground space and grounded options more and close to you the more closer he gets. But then every time he does swing, you'll find, oh, he's just running back to where he was, and now I'm just stuck in the corner. That's often the trap a lot of Marths will throw out on a lot of people. But it usually just means that they're not responding appropriately to, or like paying attention to what he's doing after he does the first initial swing. So if it's dashback that's happening most of the time, you've caught on to that. You would need to respond in that case with, okay, I'm going to shield after this fair comes out that might hit me. And now I need to do, or I might even like dash back, avoid the fair, and I know he's going to dash back after he throws out the fair. So after he throws out the fair, I'm going to dash in and keep dashing in, and then do like a overshoot down there. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Do you understand the
Cool.
concept of overshooting? I just want to make sure.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, okay. So yeah, that's kind of like, that's the response. So like I said, it's like the fair is safe, quote unquote, because it's like, yeah, Marth is going to be able to put up his shield as soon as he throws out the fair, as long as it's spaced against you. But then it's like, if he throws out the shield, okay, well, now it's just a free, like, shield pressure situation for you. But if he doesn't throw out the shield instead, and then now he's dashing back, then you need to respond accordingly. And, like, you can't do this all in reaction, of course. This is what also is frustrating for a lot of people, is, like, you can't do it all in reaction a lot of the time. So that might mean that you actually have to, like, pay attention. Not, I don't want to say pay attention. That's, like, the right word. But it's, like, you might actually have to, like, hold on to information that you've caught onto while you're playing. And, like, that's when kind of, like, the decision making versus, like, reaction play comes into to play more so. And why having, like, a good game plan is good. But sometimes you just have to know. But the benefit is, like, you also don't have to chase him either if you don't want to. You maybe lose that stage, but, like, the great thing about playing Falco is, okay, if I don't chase him if he starts doing the dash back, well, now I can just go back to laser, and, like, he can't approach me when I have laser out, so this is good for me too, right? And then you also have better platform movements, and then you can mix up the neutral situation more that way. So, like I said, there's options to it. I'm just kind of listing out a bunch for you right now, but the main thing I'm trying to do is trying to build the concept of, like, how you make decisions and, like, why you want to make them, right?
Cool. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. Okay, great. So, yeah, with that in mind, I would say, why don't we take that and actually look at the VOD of the Marth you were playing against and kind of see, like, how that comes into play, you know?
Yeah,
If you have it.
I don't have a specific VOD right now. Could we maybe jump into a couple games and
Yeah, definitely.
great. And I'm really curious if you see, like, big gaps in my play or anything.
For sure. Yeah, I'm sure I could find a couple. What's your code, sorry?
MTDR 698.
Okay. Cool. Mine is Mario, but the IO is a 10.
Oh, crap. Hey, can you hear me?
Yep, I can hear you.
Hello?
Hello. Hey. I can hear you.
Hello?
Hi. Hello.
Oh, okay, great. I can't hear you. I opened up Slippy and I forgot that it uses Wasabi right now.
Oh, okay.
See if that fixes it.
That's funny.
Yeah, gotta get those Falco side B reacts.
Yeah. You know, there's actually I've heard about this. I haven't looked into it a ton, but if you, like, I don't know if you're, like, an instrument guy, but a lot of people who play instruments still
I'm gonna
have.
hop out of the call and call you back.
Oh yeah, sure. Sorry, I forgot you could hear me. Hello.
Hey, okay, that's better.
Hey. Yeah.
All right.
Sorry. Yeah, I was just saying. I forgot you couldn't hear me for a sec. I'm not sure if you're, like, an instrument guy or anything, but if you do use Wasapi audio, if you have, like, an audio interface, a lot of people will use those for, like, their microphones or to plug their guitars into their computer. But those are nice because it lets you have, like, Wasapi audio going into your audio interface, and you can hear it while being able to hear people as well. So if you use Wasapi, it might be a thing to invest in. They're usually, like, $60.
How does
I
that
think.
work exactly? I do have a mixer.
Oh,
what do
okay,
you...
cool. So yeah, basically instead of the Wasapi audio, like, going, like, straight to your headset, like, I'm not sure how you have, like, speakers or headphones plugged in, but, like, for me, like, I would just have, like, a headset. Right now I'm using Bluetooth, but, like, normally, like, at home I have, like, a wired headset that just plugs right into my computer. So instead of Wasapi sending the audio to that, instead what it would do, and, like, having, like, controlled instant audio go, like, right to your headphones, and that's what kind of takes away, like, your ability to hear other things. Instead, it sends it right to the mixer, and because the mixer lets you, like, adjust, like, which stuff you do hear or not, you can still have all your, like, desktop and other sounds that go right to the mixer too. I think the way it works, if I'm not mistaken, is, like, Windows puts it in, like, exclusive mode if you're using Wasapi, because they're both, like, both your desktop audio and, like, Dolphin audio is coming, like, straight to the one output source, but a mixer lets you split the two. I'm not gonna act like I know 1,000%, but I do know that's, like, a lot of people what they do, so they can use Wasapi and hear, like, Discord and stuff or YouTube or whatever they want to listen to.
Cool. That's a good idea.
Yeah, so if you do have a mixer, it might be something worth looking into. I'm sure someone in the Slippy Discord could help you with that.
Great.
So you
What's
said
your
your
code?
code. Yeah, sorry. Mine. I'll type it for you. Mine
Oh, okay.
is Mario. Yours is MTDR 698.
Yes.
Okay, cool. I got you then.
1 to 10. I hope you can't hear my game audio, by the way.
I can a little, but like I really don't mind. It's totally fine. I'm so used to it. For like everyone I talk to on Discord, it's okay.
Okay, sweet. Oh yeah, you changed your name.
Yeah,
Oh,
I've been using this as like a Smurf right now, even though it's like my same connect code. I'll just spam smash against people. Okay, so yeah, let's play on Battlefield. We'll look at. I'll let you approach me a lot and kind of respond to it, and then we'll kind of play it from there. That's my fault.
okay. Very risky.
I was gonna slide off. Okay. I can definitely help you with approaching and a couple of habits just from that one game alone. But if you want to play a couple, if you weren't like super warmed up, we can
Yeah.
definitely do that
Can I
too.
do one more? Because I feel like I just went totally on autopilot for most of that game.
Yeah, no, that's totally fine.
Maybe I'll do the same thing this game and then.
Okay, sure.
Oop, yep, that's one. That's attack.
That's good. Okay. All right. One more. Or do you want to call it for there?
If you have suggestions that, I'd love to hear them.
Yeah, sure. Let's talk about it. So I'm gonna pull up. I'm gonna close this real quick. We can play a couple after if you'd like.
Cool.
But yeah, I do have a couple. So yeah, we talked about the laser thing. The laser in the corner, and then that was the main two things I was looking at. I have some like defense tips for you as well, but I noticed. Yeah, I saw the corner stuff, which you played pretty well, and then is this no? This isn't you. Shoot, sorry, I'm just trying to pull up our
Yeah, they
VOD.
do the January thing now. That's December.
Yeah. Oh, okay. I might have just clicked the wrong folder. Um. So yeah, I noticed. I'm gonna write them down right now, just so I don't forget them while I'm talking, because I tend to do that. Oh, cool. I didn't know this is new for Windows 11. Okay, so you played corner with laser grab and spacing mix-ups pretty well, but we'll talk about that too. Approaching laser aerial slash dash attack slash there was one more, but I'll probably just see it plus something. I'm just gonna write it for now, and then jumping, and then lulls in neutral. These are like the four things that stood out to me the most.
Okay.
Um,
Walls and neutral. We'll get to it.
we'll get to it for sure. So yeah, so let's talk about. Let's watch the first one first. We'll gloss over them, okay? Like it's real time. That might be helpful.
Yeah.
So, like I said, like some of these I might just be like dash dancing in place, or that's just mostly just so I can give you a chance to actually approach, you know.
Yeah.
So right here, like I said, first stock, I try and treat it the most I can is like, pay attention to what they're doing, how they play, and respond accordingly. Similarly to like how Marth has really good neutrals in a lot of matchups. In the Marth Falco matchup, you'll hear from a lot of Marths that like Falco controls the tone or the pace of the set. Sorry, that's the word I'm looking for. Falcon controls the pace. What they mean by that is like Marth doesn't really ever get to just like YOLO approach Falco for free if they're far away from each other. That's why that neutral picture I was showing you last time we spoke was really strong for Falco, because it's like he doesn't really have anything reliably safe, quote unquote, within the context to kind of reach, whether it be frame data wise or whatever, right? He has to like kind of make a read if he wants to get in or respond accordingly to what you do.
Yeah.
So when I'm playing the first lock, I'm looking for, okay, what are you doing in neutral? How do you want to come at me? And then how should I respond to it accordingly? So like maybe, yeah, first hit, you're not going to kill me off one hit at zero, probably, at least, as long as you don't make a couple of reads along the way. So it's pretty reliable just to do that, right? So even though I'm dash dancing for the purpose of like giving you an opportunity, that's also probably what I would do just while I'm playing anyway. So here I notice right away off the bat, okay, laser instant down air. I'm like, okay, cool. I'm going to catch on to that. Or at least try to, right? So like here you do laser back air, same thing, but it's like roughly a similar spacing, right? Laser, you could have turned around instant down air, and you would have gotten grabbed if you came to me in the corner like that. So here, same thing. I die, but I see still laser instant nair, and I'm like, okay, he's doing laser instant aerial. I'll get him for it now. So now I'm just intentionally getting hit by laser. There you actually did mix it up in dash attack, which is good. Like, don't get me wrong, the mix up there is great. But I'm like, okay, laser instant aerial. Now I've confirmed it again. I go too far, but I'm like, okay, next time I'm ready for it. So yeah, obviously you're just getting a good punish here, which is great. And then here I'm like, okay, I'm just gonna hit you a little bit, even it up. But yeah, we're back to it, right? Putting on pressure. So I'm waiting now. Laser instant aerial.
Yeah, probably what I meant to do.
Yeah, maybe. But I'm like, okay, let's even up the stocks because you're beating me a little bit now. Let's play. I'm like, okay, shielding, whatever. Right there it is, right? Laser instant aerial. You saw it with the back air. That's why you got grabbed, right?
Okay,
So
yeah. Even though it's not like an approaching aerial, it's still the same idea.
it's the same. It's like I said, it's all contextual and spacing, right? So it's like here you're doing laser and putting on shield pressure, which is great because I'm close to you. Now there's a distance between us where you could laser instant aerial. So like,
Yeah.
even still, I'm just dash backing to put that space between us. And the thing is like the back air, it's an instant back air. You will auto cancel it, but like I'm already moving. I'm gonna have time to get there, right? So like I said, safe is like the biggest like. There's like a word for this, like
Misnomer.
maybe yeah. I was thinking like something whistle or something. I don't know, but like it's not the right word for it. Safe is not the word people should be using in melee a lot of the time. Because yeah, it's just not great. This slide off though you do is really great. I was really excited when I was like, oh sweet, nice. You should have fast
Cool.
fell it, but
Yeah.
yeah,
And dare with you there.
yeah,
It,
probably.
there's a way for Marth to beat it, right? With certain timings.
So kind of like shield pressure, like it's like what you choose to do, right? My thing for like quote unquote layer one, if I'm a spacey, if I'm sliding off here, is I would do because like you might notice this up tilt whenever it comes out, or this up air, sorry, even the up tilt doesn't it does true combo here, but that's because you like land with it, right? If you were to slide off and then double jump, right? The layer one would say, okay, you have all this time to double jump to the top platform, so you would just get out of it for free, right? The up tilt only connects because you land without a fast fall, and that just kind of lands into tipper up tilt. A lot of Marths aren't like actively thinking about that when they do this up air up tilt. That's just them being conditioned to just spam up whenever a spacey is on a platform forever. But that'll just beat that like straight up if you do the double jump there. It's really safe, so you could do like you could practice doing like I know Uncle Punch isn't the great for as good for this because it does it on stadium, but you could practice like slide off into double jump wave land on the top platform, and then Marths will get really mad because every time when they up air you on a platform and should be getting a huge combo or death, now they're getting like 12% or however much it is.
Okay, sweet.
Yeah, but yeah, the slide off is great. Like really, really great to see that. So yeah, I'm like okay, I've hit him. I think once or twice for doing the instant arrow. There's another one, right? And that's me trying to hit you, and you actually do it safe there. But I'm like, okay, whatever. Now I'm winning. Okay, I'll go back to baiting because that's what I need to be doing for lesson purposes. So instant
Yeah.
aerial on shield again. I'm like, okay, instant aerial there. Like, all right, here it is. There you do the dash attack, but I'm like, okay, that's the second mix-up you've presented. So what's I don't want to say tricky, but like good about playing at a big distance, which you can take away as like a separate note. If you're unsure what they're gonna do at a big distance, especially with Falco, is really great because it's like see how I'm like able to just like wave dash back here. I'm not gonna punish you for this nair, but I don't.
Yeah,
I can like
now.
I can take it in, right? Similarly,
sure.
we're at a big distance again here, right? Laser, laser. Now I'm able to hit you, right? And it's like it's the same. It's you did the mix up differently, right? And this is what'll catch a lot of people when they're playing, and it gets them really mad. You did play the mix up correctly. Instead of doing a nair again like you just did there, this time you do a dash attack. But notice how you end up at like practically the exact same space.
Yeah, it's the same spacing. Just
Yeah.
on.
So it's like, yeah, even dash attack is like a much less safer move than nair, a late nair, but you'll end up in the same spot. So it's like that's what I want to talk about here. It's like you actually were playing the mix-ups well based on the lesson we're talking about. But like I said, safe is contextual. So it's like it doesn't really like matter what you do. You have to like you kind of have to respond accordingly. So if you're seeing like okay, all this Marth is doing is dashing back here from the center, right? I did it here with the nair, right?
Mhm.
Like, okay, he's dashing center. He just dashed back, whatever. Okay. Here, he's dashing back. So the third time now, you need to be like, okay, I'm going to go, like, all the way in this next time, right? Because so far, I mean, obviously it's hard for you to know because you can't read my mind, but I've caught on to I've caught on instant aerial habits, and I've caught on to a habit where you like to shoot yourself. So here you actually do it right. You do go from laser, and to be fair, it is, like, instant aerial. Or no, it's not. It's laser, which is great. But the point being, you go and put on pressure deep. which I think actually is the right response. What I wanted to say though, when it comes to lulls and neutral, is like sometimes you make a big read like this, and it doesn't do anything, right? Like nothing happens. The Marth either got away or they responded correctly, however you want to look at it. Because you don't need to give your opponent that much credit, but it's like give them enough credit kind of thing. But either way, you were expecting something, it didn't happen, and now quote unquote nothing is happening in the game. This is what a lot of newer players or like lower level players will do a lot of the time, is they'll hear like a lull in the neutral. So like the neutral exchange happened, no one hit anybody. Okay, I'm just gonna go and directly hit someone. Obviously, this one isn't exactly that because like I'm decently close. I understand why you threw out the back air, but the point being, better Falcos in this spot, I think they would be much more like willing and like okay with just like nothing happening, because instead of like trying to hit like, because here you're doing like, watch this, you're doing like attack, laser, attack, right, laser, attack, right, like you're going in. But I think other Falcos in this spot would be like, okay, I missed my attack, but I have enough space. Like, there's enough space between here, double jump up, side B here. Like, I have options, right? And they would, like, scout for a different thing to do now. Versus, like, oh my god, get off me, necessarily. And I'm not saying that's, like, the energy you have of, like, oh my god, get off me. But just more so, like, I'm going to keep... It's, like, pushing buttons. Because it's, like, it's good, quote-unquote, but... Like I said, better players are just kind of ready for that because nothing is quote-unquote safe, right? So safe is like a buzzword. I think that's the word I was looking for. It was like buzzword.
Yeah, I should be spending the time just like dash dancing in place when we're at the right spacing, like just outside your attacks or getting onto platforms and things like that.
Yeah, or even like just the simplest thing is just like a full hop with Falco. Like a full hop with Falco goes to like the top platform. So you can abuse that height and be like, okay, am I going to land with back air and drift away? And that's quote-unquote safe for most things. Or am I going to double jump and then land on the top platform? Am I going to, like, full hop or short hop next time? Like, the Marth can't really catch on to it, right? Like, no one's going to punish you outright for doing full hop all the time unless they have a hard call-out. But that's a big commitment on their end, right? So that's the thing. It's like everything is punishable, but it's either going to be a big call out or that's a contextual like thing, and it's up to you if you want to have like better defense or offense really to kind of like look at the screen quote unquote and say, okay, this is what they're doing, here's how I'm going to respond accordingly, right? And that's why I think that book is so great, because it's like it kind of leads you into that. But yeah, anyway, we'll go too much into that because we are running a little out of time. But I do you have like a little bit of time? I don't want to take up too much of your time.
Yeah,
Sorry?
I have time for sure.
Okay, cool. So yeah, I'll finish up these two games of what we'll call it here.
Sweet.
Sorry, because I've just been rambling. I didn't realize it's for so long. Sorry.
No worries.
But yeah, so now I'm like, okay, I've caught onto this instant aerial habit. Now I'm gonna dash dance on the top platform and just see if you're gonna respond any differently, right? So like this is between stocks kind of thing, but like okay, and you go here, but this is where it's like tricky. It's like okay, now that I've like quote unquote conditioned you to stop doing what you thought was working. I've changed the game completely because now I'm using the platforms instead.
Mm-hmm.
Quote unquote. This is like exact example of what I was talking about, right? A lull in neutral. Oh, this isn't working anymore. Okay, you respond, which is great, but then you just go right in, right? Yeah. It's like that you're not gonna get anything off of this one laser from halfway across the stage. And I'm not calling you dumb. I want to be clear on that. But I'm saying a lot of people fall for this trick. It is more a trick than anything that better players or even like Jigglypuffs or Sheiks or Peaches and sometimes Marths too, but even like good Fox and Falcos are mostly just doing like stuff like this. Like they're literally just like lulling your attention span and then being like, okay, gotcha, and now like you're back to doing these moves, and it's like I can go and punish you if I wanted to, right? Obviously here I'm not, because I'm like for lesson purposes, but I specifically did that because I'm like, okay, we need to talk about this too, because more than anything I think then like, and don't get me wrong, I think like a lesson like this is good for like understanding the situations for when you are like in those spots more often to punish like bad players kind of thing, and like understanding the neutral. or the corner situations. I think that's important, but I think this is what you're getting caught by more than anything. It's like lulls and neutrals and like certain spots versus like certain spots of like the dash attack and the nair example of like these are good moves or bad moves, but it's kind of like a repetition in pattern, if that makes sense. Of like
Yeah.
yeah. Um, but yeah, I think that's what you're probably I would assume probably getting hit by more often. When you're playing a tournament and these marks are hitting you, that more than anything. Um,
Yeah, I guess it's two big things I'm taking away are approaching with laser more than aerial because it beats the dash back, and then just not being afraid to just hold my space for a bit and wait for you to move the needle sometimes, make the push.
yeah, I think that's a good way to look at it. I would say like to laser to beat the dashback. That definitely works for sure. Um, it's not the answer, but is a answer.
Mhm.
Which so
Yeah,
it's
there's also
fine
laser.
takeaway. Yeah, so you understand that. And similarly, I think you should wait in neutral a little more, yeah, to for me to make the push. And like I said, a lot of Marths won't make that push, or shouldn't be, because it is like Falco is better at doing that, and it's more in his favor to do so. But not to say you need to be 100% all the time. That's why you'll often hear like oh, no one can replicate Mango. He just goes in all the time, and it doesn't work for the rest of us. But Mango actually doesn't do that, right? What I would say the biggest thing to take away for this is you're talking about people are telling you you're predictable and neutral. I think this is why, like the lulls and neutral, you'll respond accordingly as you should, right? I'm trying to find the platform here. Oh, it's way back here. Sorry. You'll respond accordingly as you should, but I don't know where it is, but you know what I'm
I'm
talking about.
visualizing laser off the platform, then jump on you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You'll respond accordingly to the dash dance on the platform thing, but then you kind of like throw it all away and run right at me in like a spot that you know isn't really great, right? Like you wouldn't under normal circumstances go from the middle of the platform here and then throw an aerial like this, right?
Mhm.
And I think that's what's making you more predictable than anything is like you kind of have like a I'm gonna push a lot of buttons mode that you go into sometimes. Um, you have that, and like that kind of like stops you from like quote unquote like making people more scared. I would say because it's like it's from their perspective, as long as they can get away from you and then like put on that lull enough where like you get bored of shooting lasers, which don't get me wrong, that's a skill to practice, is having the patience. um from their perspective, they're like, as long as I can get away, I can like bait him into doing something. And then like I said, nothing is contextually safe sometimes, so if you're getting baited, like it doesn't really matter what you do, you got baited, right? But that's something I think if you worked on, you'd be really great at, because Falco is a character. Um, you know, he has a lot of safe pressure with like laser F to laser whatever, right? Like quote unquote safe pressure, in the traditional sense. So it's like if you can actually like make people scared of wanting to move away for you or unsure what they want to do, then he's like one of the best characters at like pushing that advantage. Um, so anyway, we talked about this. We talked about lulls and neutral. Right now, we're going to talk about this one thing real quick, is jumping, because it comes up right here. Have I ever talked to you about the no-fly zone? I can't
No,
remember. No?
I don't think.
Okay. I will send you the screenshot when I get home in 3 days. I will make a note in my notebook to send it to you. Um, but basically, the no-fly zone, I like to think of it, for Spaceys especially, is like this big zone, like right here, where a lot of them like to double jump right off the stage when they're put off stage.
Mm.
I know we talked about last time a little bit about like what Marths are looking for when they do like an F throw down tilt here. In our last session, I remember that. Um, but this is exactly what they're looking for. I'm looking for you to just double jump right back on me like this, just so I can hit you like that.
It should be air
Um,
dodge.
you could do a couple things. So, like F throw down tilt is a mix up in and of itself, right? Like it's not necessarily true. If you were to DI out here, then you're off stage, and then you might like double jump back here, which I think is a lot better. than the double jump like inwards kind of thing. But because you got hit by down tilt, like you're already kind of low, Marth could go out and hit you. But anyway, point being, the instant double jump is the big thing more than anything. So there's a couple of times when we've been playing, or when you do get hit by a move where you're high up off stage or you're put off stage, you double jump right away, right? Like that's almost like instantly out of hit stun. And characters like Marth, Sheik, Puff, those are like I would say the easiest characters to do it with. They'll just hit you with a move like this, and then you're dead. And it sucks because it's like, oh, I died at 15%. That doesn't feel great.
Yeah.
So I would just be aware of it. I have a couple other Metafy sessions I have with people where you might be able to find that, me talking about it in there. But one thing I do to beat this, because this is just a bad player habit, like in general, like a lot of people that are like transitioning from ultimate to melee, like they always have this habit because you can't spam air dodge in like you can in ultimate. They'll double jump like this a lot, and most players will destroy them for it, and they get really mad. I'm like, oh, I just died at 15. So what I do, and what I did, because I was a Smash 4 kid, was I would just like audibly yell, and I know it's like a little silly, but I find just having like a audible response to a habit I'm doing really helpful in general. I think you should try and break this one more than anything the quickest, because obviously then you just won't die at like 15%, and that's more important than anything we talked about today. But yeah, just give a little like I usually will just go like like every time it happens, and that like response of being like, okay, I know I'm in the spot, don't double jump, or I'm gonna have to say and look silly. That'll stop me from doing it more than anything. You might find something works better for you, but yeah, be aware of this. I would say more than anything is don't instant double jump. And like I said, I will send you the picture, and I'll write it down as a note so that I don't forget. But I have like a diagram of like what the no fly zone looks like and where you should be aware of this double jump habit.
Cool. And like other things to do are jump and well, I guess it's still jumping, but jump and quickly air dodge, or jump backwards and then do an up B mix up or something.
Yeah, I would say the up B mix up's probably the strongest one. The only thing is like it's still Marth, right? So it's like Marth can cover everything. So Marth isn't really like the best character to show this against, but let's say it was like Sheik, right? Be the exact same thing. Let's say you get like down tilted in the corner, you DI off stage instead of getting like down tilted by Marth where you just put off stage. You'd probably end up like almost in the exact same spot, right? So what you can do is instead of double jumping towards them into what I like to say the no fly zone, just like this big circle, you'd want to double jump like here, and then yeah, you could either up B, and then if the Marth calls you out, then you're just gonna die either way. But that's Marth. But like Sheik, she doesn't really have the drift to get out there, so you could either up B in, up B up B down. You could set when you get your double jump, you could fast fall a little bit and side B in. You could fast fall a little bit, side B to ledge, or like then if you keep doing this jump out here, they might start calling you out. So then they preemptively go out there, and then maybe all of a sudden now this double jump air dodge or double jump or like just up B is stronger. But kind of like I said, like the layer 1, this quote unquote would be like a layer 3 where it's like very high risk, not the greatest reward. But here it's just recovery, so you're not so much concerned. Your reward, no matter what, it's just going to be getting back on stage. This one's a high risk.
Got it.
So yeah, I when I send you the video, I will try and link to you an example of like where I say the no fly zone is, if I can find one. But yeah, I'll send you the picture for sure, and that might make it a little bit more clear.
Cool.
Last thing I wanted to talk about for you, just from like us playing and a couple of things I picked up, was I'm gonna skip this one because I think the second game illustrated it a little better. Was us in the corner, and it's like a little bit near the end of the game here. You do it better, but I'll watch it and just pay attention because I was still paying attention to that other stuff mostly on the first game or the second game, the beginning of it. But what I noticed is you played the corner, kind of like how we talked about in the lesson a little bit. And you did get mixed up near the end, but I want to look for it and see. Oh, actually, you know what? It'd be quicker if I just show you what I'm talking about. So, we had a situation where in the corner here, you would get me to the corner, and you would do laser into grab, I think, right? I would ledge dash on, like deep, like we talked about. Laser, oh no, that's the mix-up, sorry. Yeah, here, grab, right? So we'll watch it here, a little bit further back, and maybe that'll show it. I think you actually killed me for it once. Maybe. I can't remember. No, this is the homie stock. Okay. So anyway, you got me on the ledge. I did ledge dash on, and then I grabbed, right? And this is what I want you to be aware of when you're playing another Marth another time. So I'll just wait till it comes up here.
Okay, cool. It's gotta be somewhere.
Yeah, it's right here. Okay, so you grab me here twice in the corner. I'm like, okay. So there I do down there. I mix it up. Wait, where is it? What the heck? Sorry. You did
Maybe
laser. You did laser grab me a couple times.
Yeah, it
Oh,
could've been
here.
earlier.
Here. Right, it's right here. So I think the homie sock just threw me off. Okay. So you have me in the corner, right? On the ledge. Here I go on, you do the laser, and then you grab me. Same spot like we were talking about, right? I'm like, okay, that was good. I do it again to see. Laser, grab. I'm like, okay, that's great. I'm going to remember this, right? And then I think here, like, we just play whatever. But then watch, exact same spot. This time, I'm doing here, right? So what I want to say about this is I do think you're doing the right thing. I think here I even like maybe got up like ledge dash on. I think that's what that was here. The grab works kind of thing again. And I remember I'm like, okay, he's grabbing me in this spot. I don't think this is literally that because it's obviously like just jabs. But I'm like, oh, I've been here. I've been grabbed a couple of times, right? It rings true the same. Doesn't work the fourth time around, right?
Yeah.
So again, this one is a little bit not as great as example as I thought it might have been. Like still kind of there, but the point being, the grab is a little committal in this spot, right? So I think you got it a couple of times here, but this is just one of those things where it's like if you grab all the way in the corner, and especially if you're like reacting and like, okay, he's shielding here, like we didn't talk about doing this grab at all like the whole time. So like this one, obviously, I know this isn't you like trying out the game plan kind of thing and seeing if it works. Like this is just like a I'm trying it just to try it thing. But I would say that yeah, like just be aware that if an option is working, like what a lot of people will get scared and do in this spot is like, okay, grab has worked every time. I'll abuse it if I can. But the run up grab would almost be seen as like a hard read in this case. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
The run up grab is different than the grab here, you know? So I would just say be aware of that like I liked that you were using the laser grab here because it was the right response to me doing deep ledge dash like this, right? But it's sorry?
Oh, that's a spacing thing, like because I'm close to you here, I can just throw out a grab. It's not a commit versus if I'm on one side of the plat and you're on the other, that's a harder read.
I think it's more not so much a spacing thing because like either way, like I at any point if I think you're gonna come up and grab me, I could like up B or roll or spot dodge or whatever. Spot dodge and roll obviously aren't as strong as like maybe like up B or something, but it's more contextual to like where you are on the stage. So like this shield will happen quite often, but for whatever reason it does just catch a lot of marts because I think they're assuming that you would do an aerial here. So the grab is almost seen as like a mix-up because it's like it's pretty rare in general for Falcos to grab. It's unexpected, so it works. Here though, if I were to grab you here, you're at 40, so you might actually still just die. But let's just say you're at like 0, right? If I do down throw, you could probably just DI in, and then at worst you're at a tech chase. So it's not as risky. Versus here, if you get grabbed at 0, even if you DI in, I'm not exactly sure if you DI in here. Oh, I do up throw anyway. So no, here you're just DIing out anyway. But even still, they're like right on the corner of the stage. There's no real like stage for you to land on anyway, right? So it's pretty. I think it's more like stage positioning wise, it's not the greatest thing, and that's why you want to laser when you're doing your laser F tilt, your aerials, or your drop down back your stuff. You want to do it over here anyway, because all this technically could work here. Outside of the fact that Marth has like the invincible sword, imagine he wasn't invincible. It all could work, but it's just less risk to do it over here. and you're playing with less fire, which is Marth at the ledge, right?
Tough.
So
It's a very specific spacing where I want to be going in pretty hard. It's like when Mart's right under that platform, because further up than that, further into the center, he has the dash back, and further away, he's got the grab throw off stage.
yeah, pretty much. Like, yeah, you pretty much just nailed it on the head. Like, you don't want to land on Marth and give him a grab in the corner, right? And dash back grab, obviously, is just like the great thing about being here and like keeping him here is, like I said, he doesn't get to play quote unquote neutral like he would all the way over here because he doesn't have the dash back and he can't do aerial and hit you. He really can just do like something in place and evade, or play a mix up and just go in anyway, assuming that you're not going to do anything about it, right? So that's why this shield typically, or this shield that Marth does typically works, because it's like they would just assume that most Falcos here, because it's safe, are going to do like an aerial or something, and that's why the grab is such a great response, because it's like, nope, I know how to beat that also, and I'm just going to grab you, right? Um, so that's why this mix up works, but yeah, here it doesn't because the spacing is off, or like the spacing is off. Yeah, that's the right word. Um, but it's also just like way more of a commitment from your end. Like under if I think if you were looking at it from like a okay ready set go state, you would never want to be grabbing Marth here anyway, right? Because you're gonna die at zero for it. So yeah, that's
Yeah.
that's
More
what I wanted to
laser.
talk about. Yeah,
Okay.
you just don't want to be that close to Marth in the corner like that. Unless he's shielding, and then maybe you can put on a bit of pressure. But yeah, we talked about it at the beginning of the lesson, so I'll let you reference back to that. um, but yeah, that's basically it. So I would say look out for those four habits. I mean, obviously the screenshot will be in the recording, so don't worry too much about that. But it was corner pressure, lulls and neutral, jumping, and mixing up how you approach. I think that kind of answers everything that you came into the lesson with, but I'll usually just take some time right now. Do you have any additional questions we could talk about really quick? Or if they're not quick, maybe we could talk about another lesson. But do you have anything else? And it's okay, I have time, so like it's no worries. It's not a bother if you want to ask.
Yeah. No, I don't think. I guess just to recap on the mixing up the approach. The big thing is that I'm going in too aggressively and attacking 100% of the time. And really, I should be lasering more, holding the space.
Yeah, I think the big thing, which makes it like quote unquote easy to find openings on you right now, is like it's less even about like the attacks that you're doing, but yeah, just more like the constant rhythm that you are going in all the time when you get the opportunity. So it's like, okay, I'm just going to evade and bide my time until I can snuff out an opening, and then I'm just going to hit you. And like I said, it doesn't really matter what move you're doing as long as I can stay away, right? So yeah, you would either need to be better at locking them in, which like then the go all in all the time playstyle kind of works a little better, but even still you'll still be a little bit more weak to those openings, so it's good to know like when to quote unquote back off, or in other words like when to quote unquote stop going in and say okay, we're back to neutral, he got out, kind of thing, right? That would make you less predictable against other people just from the get-go, because it's like, oh wait, he's backing off here, like now what do I go in? Is he gonna come in? I don't know. And it's like from your perspective you don't really have to care, because it's like okay, I'm gonna stop backing off and I have a laser, so it's like good luck getting in on me. I can go back to dictating the pace on when we're gonna play again, kind of thing, right? And
Cool.
that's scary for your opponent, so yeah, that's to sum that up basically.
What did you mean by lock them in?
So, well, kind of what we were talking about at the beginning of the lesson, like lock them into the corner. Some
Oh, sure.
arts, what they feel is even when they're in shield, they're kind of locked in against better Falcos at higher level, because it's like you'll get into it more once we talk about like higher pressure situations, or like how to keep push an advantage. But yeah, like Marth's role is pretty long, so it's like some arts maybe they have the right idea of like when Falco is gonna like go in on them, but like I said, if the Falcos like pay attention, like reading the screen, quote unquote, is probably the best word for it. Um, they can kind of respond accordingly and just start punishing all of Marth's roles. Like Falco can cover every one of Marth's options in shield. He just can't cover them all at once. So being able to put them into that situation as much as possible and quote unquote lock them in to be hit at every situation. Like Zane is terrified to shield against like a good Falco who can uh, keep him locked into it. Right, he wants to be able to be mobile and find a grab, and he's not just gonna like YOLO shield grab a Falco. Like if he does, it's like a read that they're not gonna hit him in that way for doing it. Right, so that's kind of what I mean by lock them in.
Sweet.
Yeah,
Okay. Yeah, that's all really helpful. That's all. This has been awesome.
yeah, no problem. So yeah, like kind of like I would say last lesson. My lessons are kind of built to like build off off of one another. So if you ever do want to book another lesson with me, I'd really appreciate it. I had a lot of fun today. But yeah, I my manager right now is always pushing me right now. If you can make like a social media post, a tweet, Discord message, whatever, just give me a shout out for the lesson. I'd appreciate it, but definitely not necessary. I'm personally not gonna ask you to do that, but I'm being told to say that at the end of lessons now. Um, but
There's
yeah,
like
if
a Discord server for that.
sorry.
Is that on your Discord server or
Yeah,
where?
just my
Okay.
Discord, or if you like ever want to mention it in Melee Online that you had a lesson with me or something, that'd be helpful too.
Cool.
Um, but yeah, I think that's it. So yeah, let me know how it goes with the new corner situation knowledge, and how you do in neutral. I definitely think be great if maybe some other time we could watch a video of you playing in tournament. We could kind of lock in like beating specific players really quick. That would be cool. But yeah, I will get back to you with um, the graphic on the no fly zone just to make that part of the lesson a little easier for you whenever you watch it back. But yeah, I will have this up on YouTube as soon as I can get it.
Awesome. Yeah, and I've got the next lesson already purchased, so I'm sure it'll be
Oh,
soon.
okay, sweet. No, that sounds great. Awesome. Yeah.
Cool.
Well, I will talk to you soon then.
All right. Thanks again, Mark.
No problem. Have a good one. Bye now.